Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Tech TV. I'm Scott Robbins, W4PA, Amateur Radio Product Manager for Tech Incorporated. And I'm here today with Stan Brock, WD0BGS, and we're going to talk about RTTY operation and the Omni-VII transceiver. Not how to necessarily operate RTTY, but how to hook up the radio and how easy it is to use on RTTY. First thing we'll talk about is what cables you will need to plug in between the transceiver and the computer itself. Pretty simple, right?
Very simple indeed. Scott, it's been a pleasure. And to all our Tech fans out there, I'd like to introduce you to a cable that's in your packing kit for the Omni-VII and the Orion. And this is the model 46176 cable. This cable essentially gives you everything you need to get hooked up for digital communication modes. And the one you're mainly interested in is the white and the yellow cable. The black will also give you push to talk, but these two right here will give you your sound card line in and line out.
Okay, so now on the back, this plug here is a 5-pin DIN.
That's correct.
On the back of the radio, there's a 5-pin DIN connector that has audio in, audio out, PTT connections. You merely plug this end of the cable into the transceiver and then hook the appropriate wire from your sound card to these two jacks.
That's right. I might also point out one thing. We have given you this cable so that you can provide the inputs and outputs to other devices so that it's easily interfaced with items like rig blasters and other accessory devices, robot interfaces for slow scan TVs, because most all of these devices are using audio style cables, RCA type cables. So that's what we've done. To connect to your sound card, obviously you're going to need a connector, which are easily available from your local Radio Shack store or many of the audio supply chains, and that will terminate to the 1/8" style you need for a sound card, so that should work just fine.
Okay, so once you've got the cable plugged in, the next step would be to get an appropriate piece of software. And what kind of software is that?
Right. Well, the interesting part about digital mode software is that most of the good software out there is really free and available to you to download off the internet. The one we have up and operational right now is called RTTY, which is a version of software that was invented by a Japanese gentleman, and it's freeware, so anyone can download it and place it on their Windows-based computer. Also, another good program for PSK31 is either DigiPad or WinPSK. Those two programs are also available and free. So there are a number of freeware software programs for digital modes, and they work just excellent with all of our transceivers.
Okay, now on the rig itself, I noticed I pushed the mode button on the front. We got a number of modes here. We got both sideband modes, FSK, no mode marked RTTY though. Now, you can run this rig in FSK mode, which is true frequency shift keying, or you can run it in lower sideband for AFSK. Now, explain why you'd run the rig in lower sideband and why you would run FSK versus AFSK.
Okay. The AFSK is your audio frequency shift keying. It's basically giving you audio tones that are going through your transceiver, either through the mic connector or, in this case, through the line in and output jack on the back of the radio. Frequency shift keying is done internally in the radio, and basically what it's doing is it generates a tone which is 170 hertz shift, and when you shift it, you're basically a collector to ground type of a connection on the FSK pin on the rear auxiliary connector, and it will also do the same thing, and it will give you your frequency shift keying. Actually, the person receiving on the other end will never know the difference, but when you are operating AFSK, you always want to be in lower sideband mode when you're using the transceiver. If you're using frequency shift keying, we have a mode specific to that.
Okay, so once you've got the cable plugged in and you've got the software loaded onto the PC, what do you have to do to be able to operate? You basically just push the TX button on the...
That's about all there is to it. To operate, you tune in there's a little tuning graph, and I wish we could show that to you, but it's there's a tuning graph on most of the software that's on there, and you can either click on a stream or waterfall, or you can also there we can try to get a
little screenshot here.
get a little screenshot of what it looks like. And when you are tuned in, for instance, on radio teletype, there's a little cross scope that will allow you to tune it in. And when you're tuned in, it will start to copy radio teletype. And the same thing would hold true on PSK31. When you click on a stream, a waterfall stream, it will then start to copy your PSK digital modes.
Okay, so you can see up here it says TX up here in the corner, and you just click TX. Now we're in transmit, and you can start typing on the keyboard, CQ, or I guess you have macros here where you can.
Right, we can. Let's go ahead and send out a
CQ, KK4TT, KK4TT. All right.
It'll automatically go back to receive when it's finished, and now.
I've got some Europeans here talking to each other on this frequency, it looks like. Okay, great.
That kind of gives you a little insight into digital modes.
Hopefully we've shown you how easy it is to set this Omni-VII up for digital modes. This not only is applicable to RTTY operation, but to PSK31 as well. Same connections are made on the rig, and of course PSK31 software like WinPSK is certainly available for download off of the internet. I'd like to say thank you for tuning in tonight. My name is Scott Robbins. My call sign is W4PA, and I'm the Amateur Radio Product Manager for Tentec Incorporated. This is Stan Brock, WD0BGS to my right. If you have any questions about our products, feel free to give us a call at 800-833-7373 or visit us on the web at www.tentec.com. 73 for tonight.